right, today we're going to try something a little different.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're going for a deep dive that's easy enough for like a third grader to get.
Okay, sounds fun.
We're talking birds.
Birds.
They've got this third grade science textbook chapter all about them.
Oh.
I thought it'd be interesting to see what we could learn.
Yeah, should be a good time.
So how do they fly? It's like magic.
Well, there's some science behind it too, you know.
Of course, but still.
So their bodies are like streamlined.
Oh, so that's got to help.
Makes them smooth, sleek, like a rocket.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Helps cut through the air.
Tiny feathered airplanes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and speaking of feathers,
Okay.
they got different kinds, each with a job to do.
Okay, so like what?
Down feathers, they keep them warm.
Like a little blanket?
Exactly. Then you've got the flight feathers.
Those are the big ones, right?
Long, strong, stiff, all for pushing against the air.
Creating that lift.
Exactly. Just like airplane wings.
Incredible.
And those chest muscles, they're powerful.
Oh, yeah, they got to be.
Attached to the breastbone, it's like an anchor.
They can really get those wings moving.
Up and down, both important for flight.
I always thought it was mostly the downstroke.
Well, the downstroke is the power.
Pushing forward.
But the upstroke helps them lift and turn.
It's like a dance.
It is. Muscles and wings working together.
Now, what about birds that can't fly?
Like penguins.
Yeah, and ostriches, they got wings, but...
They've adapted to different lifestyles.
Okay, so like penguins traded flying for swimming?
Yep. Their wings are more like flippers now.
Underwater superheroes.
Uh-huh. And ostriches, they're all about speed on the ground.
Makes sense. Those legs are strong.
So they're like the race cars of the bird world.
I love that.
And speaking of different birds, have you noticed all the different beaks?
Oh, yeah. It's like they've got a tool for every job.
You're right. Each beak is designed for their diet.
Like, what about sparrows?
They love seeds.
So their beaks got to be...
Small, short, and strong. Perfect for cracking those seeds open.
like a little nutcracker.
Exactly. Then you've got parrots.
Those colorful guys.
They love fruit.
Oh, so their beaks are more for...
Gripping and tearing into those juicy fruits.
Oh, little fruit ninjas.
Exactly.
Now, birds of prey, those beaks are a little scarier.
Like eagles and hawks, their beaks are sharp and hooked.
Gotta be able to tear that meat.
That's right. For fish, small mammals.
It's amazing how everything's adapted for survival.
Isn't it? And speaking of adaptations, let's talk feet.
Oh yeah, claws too.
Just like beaks, bird feet come in all shapes and sizes.
So what about woodpeckers? Always climbing trees.
Strong claws, perfect for gripping the bark.
So they don't fall off.
And 2 toes forward, 2 toes back for extra grip.
Built-in climbing spikes.
Uh-huh, exactly. Now what about ducks?
Water birds.
They need something different.
Gotta be able to swim.
Webbed feet like paddles.
Makes sense.
Helps them glide through the water.
Then there's those birds of prey again.
Eagles, hawks, their claws are different.
Sharper, right?
Talons, they're called.
For catching and holding on to prey.
Powerful grip.
So many different kinds of feet.
Oh, and don't forget the perching birds.
Like robins.
They can grip branches even while they sleep.
Really? That sounds impossible.
Their feet have a special locking mechanism.
So they don't just fall off in the middle of the night.
Exactly, like a built-in safety harness.
Wow, birds are full of surprises.
They are.
So we've talked flight, beaks, claws, even how they sleep.
What else could there be?
Well, what about their nests?
Ah, nests. That's a whole other story.
I always loved finding them as a kid.
They're like little works of art.
Hidden treasures.
Each one unique, designed just for that bird.
Okay, so different kinds of nests too.
You bet. Robins and bluebirds, they build those cup-shaped nests.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Twigs, grass, mud, all for a sturdy home.
Little birdie cradle.
Then there's woodpeckers. They chisel out cavities in trees.
Like a little apartment in the trunk.
Even sound.
And eagles and hawks, their nests are huge.
High up on cliffs and tall trees.
Made of strong branches.
Like giant freetresses.
It's amazing how much effort they put in.
Creating a safe and comfortable home for their families.
And they use all sorts of materials.
Twigs, grass, leaves, mud, feathers.
Even spider webs, that's crazy.
Surprisingly strong and flexible.
So it's all about using what's available.
Getting creative with the design.
Shows how resourceful they are.
Building a home, caring for their young. It's something we see all over.
Not just birds.
Animals have all sorts of ways to shelter and protect their families.
It's a reminder that we're all connected.
To the natural world.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Birds remind us of the importance of home and family.
I love that.
So much we've covered.
Yeah, it feels like we've just begun to explore their world.
We have. There's so much more to learn.
Behaviors, songs, migrations.
Their interactions with everything around them.
There's a whole new world of discovery.
And it's all around us.
Right in our backyards.
So keep your eyes peeled.
And your ears open.
You'll be amazed by what you find.
I can't wait to see what we discover next.
Me too.
All right, let's take a little break and we'll be back with more fascinating bird facts.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Now, before the break, we were talking about all kinds of nests.
Yeah, those birds are quite the architects.
They are, and some are even more impressive than others.
Oh, like what?
Well, imagine a bird that stitches leaves together.
Stitches? Like with a needle and thread?
Pretty much. They use their beaks and plant fibers, or spider silk.
Wow, that's incredible.
Tailor birds, that's what they're called.
It's like they've got their own little sewing kit.
Haha, they do. And if you think that's something, there are birds that make these huge hanging nests.
Oh, wow. What are those like?
They look like woven baskets, really intricate.
What kind of bird did that?
Weaver birds.
Makes sense.
And they're not just for one bird. These nests can house hundreds.
So it's like a bird apartment complex.
Aha, exactly. Must be busy in there.
I bet, especially during nesting season.
Oh, for sure.
And what about those woodpeckers? We were talking about their beaks.
Oh, yeah, they use those chisels to make cavities right in the tree trunk.
So they're living in tree houses.
Safe and cozy inside the wood.
It's incredible how they create these shelters.
It is. Each species has its own way of doing things.
Find the right spot, the right materials.
It's all about protecting their families.
Just like us.
Exactly. Building a home, caring for their young.
It's something we see in the animal kingdom all the time.
Not just birds, insects, mammals, they all have their ways.
It's a connection we share with all kinds of creatures.
Right. That need for shelter, for a place to raise a family.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. And birds, they really highlight that importance of home and family.
So we've talked flight, beaks, claws, nests. What else is there to know about these birds?
Well, we've only scratched the surface, really.
There's always more to learn, huh?
Always. Their behaviors, their songs, how they migrate.
It's like a whole other world to explore.
And it's right outside our doors.
So what's the best way to keep learning?
Just observe, pay attention to the birds around you.
Look at their colors, their shapes, their sizes.
See what they're doing, how they're acting.
It's like becoming a bird detective.
Exactly.
Maybe even keep a bird journal.
That's a great idea. Write down your observations.
Oh, I might just do that.
And there are always books and websites if you want to go even deeper.
I have to check those out. I'm feeling inspired.
That's great. The more we learn about birds, the more we appreciate them.
Yeah, their beauty, how important they are to the planet.
They really are a gift.
So we've covered a lot today.
We have.
Learned so much about these feathered friends.
It's been a great journey.
I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
I hope so.
All right, well, for now,
Yeah.
let's just say, keep your eyes open. Keep listening for those bird songs.
And keep learning.
You never know what you might discover.
That's the best part.
We've covered so much ground about birds today.
Yeah, it's been a real deep dive. Even simplified it.
Right. I bet there's still so much more to learn.
Oh, absolutely. But before we wrap things up, let's make sure our third graders are all caught up.
Good idea. Got to recap those key takeaways.
So, starting with how they fly, those amazing adaptations.
Their bodies, built for the sky.
Streamlined, like those little airplanes you mentioned.
And those feathers, so important.
Keeping them warm, helping them soar.
And don't forget those powerful chest muscles.
Gotta have the strength to flap those wings.
Then we talked about all the different beaks.
Each one a tool, designed for their specific food.
Sparrows with their seed-cracking beaks.
Parrots tearing into fruit.
And those sharp beaks of the birds of prey.
For catching and eating their meals.
And their feet, just as diverse.
Adapted for climbing, swimming, perching, you name it.
Webbed feet for the water.
Sharp talons for hunting.
Even those special feet that let them sleep on branches.
Without falling off. Pretty incredible.
And of course, we couldn't forget about the nests.
So many different kinds.
From those cozy cups to those giant fortresses.
Even those tailor birds stitching leaves together.
It's like the bird world is full of tiny architects.
Using whatever they can find to build a safe home.
So much creativity.
All for the sake of their families.
Really makes you appreciate them, doesn't it?
It does. All those amazing adaptations working together.
So next time you see a bird, take a closer look.
Just think about what we've learned.
Notice that beak, those feet.
What can they tell you about that bird's life?
It's like a puzzle, figuring it all out.
And here's a challenge for everyone listening.
Oh, I like a challenge.
Imagine you could design your own bird.
Ooh, that's a good one.
With the perfect beak, feet, and claws.
For whatever job you can think
Let
of.
your imagination run wild.
What kind of super bird would you create?
But even without designing a brand new bird,
Yeah.
there's so much to discover just by observing the birds around us.
Get out there, become a bird watcher.
It's easy, it's fun, and you can learn so much.
Just step outside, look up, listen for those songs.
And remember, even though we kept things simple today,
There's always more to learn.
keep exploring, keep discovering.
That's the beauty of the natural world.
So until next time.
Keep those eyes open, keep listening, and happy birding everyone.